Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to fill you on some things that I've been doing behind the scenes, mainly with the body and paint work on the car. I'm not going to make a video on it just because there's tons of videos out there on paint and body stuff, rust repair. All right, I think I got this side of the car pretty much squared away. Main thing is down here in the dog legs, there was rust. And then I also had some surface rust right in here. I actually went down to local yards and cut a patch panel out for this. So it's got all new metal in there. Repainted the side skirt also. And then did some little rust repair up here. Repainted it, blended up here at the body line. And it turned out pretty good. I still have to do the other side. I'm waiting to source that patch panel for the other side. It's odd, every car at the yards, all the Chargers, every one of them had rust on the passenger dog leg. I also wet sanded the whole side of the car with 3000 grit and then did a polish on it. And it looks pretty good. But that's just this side. I still have the other side to do, and the front bumper also needs attention. But for this video, finally got my replacement wheel in so I can relocate those paddle shifters. So if you've been following along, you'll know that the placement that I picked for the paddle shifters on here, not ideal. They're out towards the edge, and I just didn't like how I was constantly catching my hands on them. If you're using them, they're fine right there, but if you're just driving normal, not using them, they're in the way. So a replacement wheel, I'm gonna relocate them. Now this video will not be as detailed as the first two videos I did on paddle shifters. So if you want a more in-depth look, go back and watch the two-part series on the paddle shifters, and it'll show exactly all the steps you need to do. What I'm doing today is just relocating them, which is just a different position on the wheel. The install process is still the same. So regardless, wherever you pick to put them on the wheel, the way you go about doing it is the same. So, all right, well, let's get started. I gotta get the wheel out of here and we start transferring parts. Now again, I can't stress enough, this is not going to be a detailed install of the paddle shifters. I did that. The install process is the same. So if you want to know how to remove the steering wheel, the airbag, the switches, place the paddle shifters and all that stuff, go back and watch those first two videos. Okay, I got both my wheels out and also got the switches out and stuff for my stock wheel. One thing to note, my stock wheel has the cruise control and this wheel does not. I have to figure out a way to transfer this cruise control to here. There's no spot for the hardware. So what I'm gonna have to do is we're gonna take these backing covers off. I'm gonna pull the cruise control switch out and then I'll have to relocate it to this. Looks like I'm probably gonna have to drill and tap a hole for that screw to go in. It shouldn't be a big deal. And then just swap over the covers. Now this wheel is a SRT wheel, so it has the red stitching, but they both are the sport wheels with the thumb grip. This one, a little rough, but mine, the inside spokes are worn, whereas this one is not. The insides are all real nice on this one. And I got something coming to fix this, so stay tuned for that. Okay, you can see on my steering wheel, there's actually a stud here for the cruise control switch to sit on, like that. Whereas on the new wheel, it's not there. But what is nice is that the cruise control switch actually screws into the back cover. Like that, and then there's this cap right here. That'll actually hold the switch in place, and I can put it on here and I'll know exactly where my hole needs to be. Okay, I got the my back cover on the new steering wheel. I got the cruise switch screwed in, so we turn it over and see, bam, perfect. I know exactly where I need to drill. Now, there is some space between the switch and the steering wheel, so I might have to throw a washer in there. Now, there's the screw that came out of there. It's kind of like a self-tapper. So I think I'm just gonna drill a slightly smaller hole and thread that in there with a washer and call the cruise switch good to go. Obviously, I had to put my old harness in here because it has the cruise plug, and there's gonna be more wires on the main harness plug. But the cruise switch issue, not a problem. So if you're wanting to swap wheels and you have cruise, and you want to switch to a wheel that doesn't have the cruise, no issue adding it there. All right, I got the cruise control switch in. I did have to get a longer screw just to make sure I got all the way through there. And I did put a small washer under the base of this flange here just to support it, but it's in there. a lot of the support comes from those screws that hold it to the housing, so that should be plenty. Got my paddle shifters off. Got all my switch covers and stuff off. Now to find a new placement for them on the back. Now on the old wheel, you can see I went way out here. You can't really go behind this block here. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can with these screws. Still having enough. So I think I'm gonna try to do my pilot hole right there in that groove. Basically, right there. And what that should do is instead of putting the paddle shifters way out here, it should move them in, I would say, probably right about there. Okay, I drilled my pilot hole and went ahead and stuck the paddle shifter on there. It's kind of hard to see placement wise, but that's where it puts it on the back as opposed to way out here. That should be good. Still reach it. I just want to note, you see I went a little higher than the middle. You would think you'd want to be right in the middle here, but it's actually thicker up here than it is down here. So if you want the paddle shifter centered on the back of the wheel, go a little higher than this hole here. And what that'll do is put it right in the middle of the spoke in the back. Just like last time, tape down, slid the paddle shifters on there, just so I could get a rough trace of where the base is going to sit. And now I know how much of the foam backing I can cut out. Obviously you want to cut maybe just a little less than that of whatever you mark, just to give you some cushion. The stuff on the back is very flexible, so you can squeeze the paddle shifter in there even if it's too small, which is better because you can't add material. So now I'm going to cut these out. Also, just a note, you can actually just trace this with a sharp knife and then take the tape off, and then you can see where you need to cut. It makes it easier to cut this out without the tape sticking on it, because then it just moves around and stuff. Now just make sure you use a sharp blade, score around it a few times till you get all the way through it, and then you should be able to just take a screwdriver and just start prying it out of there, and it'll just break off. You see, I almost got this piece in one shot. I had to trim a little bit in there. All right, I got the hole enlarged to fit the bolt. Also, I made my hole for the wiring harness, and just like last time, instead of going straight through, I actually went through like this. That way, the harness has a smooth transition. It doesn't have to 90 off the paddle shifter and then 90 back down through there. It can just flow right through there. Now I'm going to test fit the paddle. All right, got one on there. Pretty straight. Tiniest bit of gap on top there, but pretty flush all around. I think I'm happy with that. Can still reach it, no problem. And I got some extensions I want to put on there. I'll show you later once I get the wheel back in the car. So now I got to knock out this side. All right, after a bunch of trial and error and back and forth, I think I got them right where I want them. Almost no gaps. Nice and flush on both of them. There you go, sit right there. Now I can get the buttons in, get the wiring back to where it was, and then it'll be ready to go back in the car. All right, got all the switches in, the wiring's done. It's ready to go back in the car. All right, that's a wrap. It's all done. Now you may have noticed I wrapped these in black, and you're probably asking why. It's because I got some carbon fiber overlays to go on there, and I didn't want any of the silver to show through. So I wrapped them black first, that way when I put these on, no silver shows. So let me do that. Actually, it looks pretty good. Now I have extensions for the paddle shifters, but I have two different kinds, so I'm not sure which ones I'm going with. Okay, I have these. They're more of like a painted carbon, you know, fake. But then I also got these, which kind of resemble this style carbon. Let me think on that. Okay, I went with these. Only reason really is because on these, you see the back's not really finished. So from the side, it looked kind of ugly. Those look all right. And they don't interfere with the turn signal stalk at all or the cruise control. Still functions, nothing touches. Looks pretty good for a stock wheel with some fake carbon fiber. All right, that's it for this one. Just quick little update on the paddle shift install. I'm glad to be finally done with it. Like I said, I still have something coming to finish off the wheel since the actual wheel part is kind of messed up. So I have to stay tuned for that. Also, since I'm not using these, if you plan on doing this paddle shift install and you got the parts and you figure out a way that you're going to make them work, whether it's with the transformer or wiring through the clock spring, if you have the other clock spring, DM me on Instagram and I'll send you these for free. Just show me proof that you have the stuff to do the install and I'll send these to you. So yeah, if you have any questions about paddle shift install that maybe between the 3 videos that I've done, maybe you don't understand or you still have questions, just reach out here on YouTube or on Instagram and I'll help you through it. Also, if you don't know, the 06 to 10 official group on Facebook, I actually run that group. I created it a few years ago, just mainly for the guys with 06 to 10 Chargers, had a place specific to these cars. So you can also see me on there if you have questions, or, you know, I monitor the group daily. But other than that, appreciate you watching. Thanks to all the new subscribers that are out there, slowly ticking away at that 500. So once I hit it, I'm doing a massive burnout and you guys will see it. So thanks for watching and I'll catch you on the next one.